Certification Observer Field Memo, Karath Shelf Endurance Circuit. Issued by Observer 7 KAAS, Academic Division, KETH Institutional Certification Authority. Filing Status: Mandatory Incident Review, cross-lodged with Species Classification Desk, IWC Annex 4. Subject: Human Female Candidate, Provisional Designation, VOSS, MAREN, Class 14 DEATHWORLD Origin, ERRATH-7 Registry Designation, Blue Water Biosphere, Variable Climate Classification. I was assigned to the Karath Shelf Circuit on a routine rotation. My task was straightforward: observe, document, and file the outcome. I have filed 741 such outcomes in my career. This is the first time the Certification Authority has requested a supplemental explanation. I will provide one. Hour 1. The candidate arrives at the staging platform at the base of the Karath Canyon approach. The weather is what it is on Karath at this season. Sustained low-pressure blizzard at altitude, transitioning to mixed precipitation, sleet, and driven rain at the canyon floor. Temperature at the platform reads 11 degrees below the tolerance threshold for KETH baseline species. The trail surface is ice-sheeted stone, exposed to crosswind through the canyon walls. I note the candidate for the record: small, female, 22 years by Terran reckoning. Brown hair matted flat by the rain that has already started. Her certification kit is standard issue: an insulated underlayer, a waterproof shell, a beacon unit, a ration block, 2 litres of water, no supplemental heating packs. She did not request any. I logged that. At the time I assumed it was an oversight. Certification Officer Solvath, senior to me, four-armed, pale gold chitin, the kind of administrator who uses the word baseline the way some species use the word inferior, reviews her kit list and says nothing. His expression for those who read KETH faces says everything. He stamps her entry form. He expects her to be a withdrawal entry by hour 6. The species average for the Karath Shelf Circuit is withdrawal by hour 8. That is for candidates who train for it. Most do not complete the circuit at all. They turn back somewhere in the middle canyon, log the beacon at the nearest refuge post, and the certification is marked incomplete. This is not a failure in the moral sense. The circuit exists to find limits, not punish them. 3 Solvath candidates have died on Karath in the last 4 decades. We do not advertise that. The consent form covers it. VOSS signed the consent form. She did not ask what it covered. I watched her walk into the blizzard. She did not look back. Hour 12. I am at the monitoring station. The candidate's beacon is live and moving. She is in the upper canyon. Wind is gusting to 47. Sleet is horizontal. Her biometric telemetry, core temperature, pulse, respiration is within nominal range. This surprises me. I note it. I do not yet assign it significance. Solvath is not at the station. He went to his quarters at hour 8 when the withdrawal window passed without event. He left instructions to wake him at hour 24 if the beacon was still active, which he clearly did not expect to be necessary. Hour 24. Beacon still active. The candidate has descended to the canyon floor. Rain here, not sleet, liquid precipitation sustained. The canyon floor is flooded at the low points. I can see this on the terrain feed. She is wadding. I watch the biometric feed. Core temperature has dropped 0.2 of a degree from baseline. 0.2. I cross-reference this against the species file. I find it. Class 14 Biosphere, ERRATH-7, Variable Precipitation Climate. Mean annual rainfall 3 times the KETHSDA&DARD temperate average. Indigenous species evolved continuous exposure to low-temperature liquid precipitation across all seasons. Thermoregulatory response to sustained wet cold. Involuntary peripheral vasoconstriction, metabolic upregulation, elevated shiver thermogenesis, maintained core integrity without behavioral withdrawal cue. In plain language, rain does not signal danger to this species. Rain is the background. It has always been the background. The animal that became MARENVOSS spent 100,000 years being rained on. The Karath Shelf signature hazard, the wet-cold combination that drives KETHBASELINE candidates to the refuge posts, registers in her physiology the way clouds register in mine. She is aware of it. She is not alarmed by it. I wake Solvath. He reviews the telemetry. He is quiet for longer than usual. He says, "She'll exhaust." He goes back to his quarters. Hour 36. She is past the halfway marker. She stopped once. I have the timestamp for 11 minutes at an overhang. She ate the ration block. She refilled her water from the canyon stream, treated it with the tablet in her kit, drank it. Then she stood up and kept walking. 11 minutes. I have observed KETHBASELINE candidates spend 6 hours at the same overhang before the hypothermia triggered the distress beacon. Hour 48. Solvath is awake now. He is at the monitoring station. He does not speak to me. He watches the telemetry feed with the particular stillness of an administrator who is revising an assumption he has held for 30 years. I do not say anything either. There is nothing useful to say. Her pace has slowed, not much, perhaps 12% from the hour 1 baseline. The terrain has steepened again. She is climbing the back canyon wall toward the upper plateau. Rain has turned to sleet again. The footing is poor. She falls twice. I have the footage. Both times she gets up without pause, adjusts the shoulder strap of her kit, and continues. There is no moment of decision visible in the footage. She simply gets up because the alternative is not one she appears to consider. Hour 60. Upper plateau. Wind is the worst of the circuit here, 40 meters per second, sustained, temperature at 18 below KETH baseline. This is where the circuit's 3 fatalities occurred. I checked the file. All 3 were experienced candidates. All 3 were larger than she is. All 3 had heating packs and supplemental nutrition. The plateau crossing is 4 hours at a standard pace. She does it in 3. I do not have an explanation for this. The biometric data shows elevated pulse, elevated metabolic output, core temperature holding at exactly the same point it has held since hour 2, 2/10 below her own entry baseline. No drift, no cascade. The cold is not accumulating the way it accumulates in every species file I have ever reviewed. I pull her species classification again. I read the thermoregulation section again. I have been a certification observer for 19 years. I was trained on KETHBASELINE physiology. The KETH body, under sustained cold-wet exposure, undergoes progressive efficiency loss in its peripheral heating systems. It is a feedback loop with a floor, and the floor is dangerous. I have known this since my 3rd year. I had not, until hour 60 of this circuit, appreciated how much of my entire professional model was built around that one assumption, that cold accumulates. That wet cold, specifically, accumulates fast. It does not in her. It is not an absence of the effect. It is that her system does not have the feedback loop. There is no progressive efficiency loss to speak of. She is wet. She has been wet for 60 hours. She is cold by her own standard, and she is walking. Hour 71. The terminus marker is at the canyon's northern exit, where the shelf levels to a flat approach and the beacon pillar stands in clear sight. I am watching the terrain feed. The sleet is still driving. The light is flat and gray. She walks out of the canyon. She crosses the flat approach. Her gait is unchanged from the plateau, not fast, not hurrying, not triumphant. She reaches the beacon pillar. She places her palm on the sensor panel. The beacon chimes, one clean tone. Certification complete. She stands there for a moment, rain on her face. She does not look at the monitoring station. She does not look at anything in particular. She unclips her kit strap, sets the pack down on the flat stone, and sits beside it. She pulls out her water, drinks the last of it. Then she sits quietly in the rain as if this is a reasonable place to be. Solvath has not moved in 11 hours. I write my final memo entry at hour 71 and 14 minutes. I have spent 19 years writing memo entries. I have never written a supplemental explanation before today, and I will say now that I did not fully understand why one was required until I sat down to write it. The circuit is designed to have a failure rate. We designed it that way. We considered the failure rate a feature, not a flaw, a natural filter that separated candidates who were merely willing from candidates who could sustain. We were confident in the design. We have been running this circuit for 40 years. She treated it as a commute. That is the whole of my supplemental explanation. I am aware it is not the explanation the certification authority was expecting. I am filing it anyway because it is the accurate one, and accuracy is what the memo requires. I have attached the full biometric record and the terrain footage to this filing. I recommend the species classification desk review the Class 14 cold tolerance entry as a matter of some urgency. The beacon is still chiming. She is still sitting in the rain. Observer 7 Cause. Keth Institutional Certification Authority. Karath Shelf Circuit Incident File, Hour 71 plus 14.